Here's my review of X-Men 97, Episode 8. I mean, this was another great episode. I mean, all the episodes are awesome. And I think what I like about this episode is probably just seeing there's so much different creativity with all the animation and just seeing all these different mutant abilities. And I think that not only did this do a good job, especially with showing the beautiful animation, the uniqueness of some of the powers, but I mean, the story itself with Bastian, I blanked on his name for a minute, is very intriguing. Like I couldn't help but like just kind of get these just kind of despicable vibes with Bastian, and I will say though, so there's only 2 episodes left, and I still feel like so we have Bastian and then Mr. Sinister that he's working with, and it's like I feel like they're not doing a great job. Like I think this show is great, yeah, but I feel like each episode individually is great, but I feel like with Mr. Sinister, I'd want to know more about him. I wish I would. I wish this was more than 10 episodes, but I mean, it is what it is. And what I like so much about this episode is just there's so much to shine. Like there's so much that can't even speak today. So many characters get a chance to shine. Like with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, I feel like I really liked him in the original series, and I liked him here as well. Just his whole personality, like, is just very well, like, it is very well done. From not only like in a way he almost has this beautiful optimism in a way, even though he's shunned so much, and it's just something about that is just very very beautiful, I think. And like I said, just and when we see some of his powers, it is awesome. Like we get to see what it's like for Nightcrawler to teleport as he goes through this other dimension, and it's just beautiful. And it's something that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever seen this. I know we definitely don't think we've seen this in any of the movies, and I don't remember seeing it in any of the original shows, in the original series. But I mean, it was really cool seeing it here. Like I said, I do think that like Nightcrawler just stole the show for me personally. But there are several great action scenes with like the raid on the mansion is just awesome. And every frame of this is just so beautiful. I just can't help but it's just like, man, I'm glad this is already greenlit for season 2 because I'm like, there's only 2 more episodes and that makes me mad. And hey, we get an awesome Spider-Man cameo, short and sweet, but I thought that it was a lot of fun. I mean, hey, Spider-Man is probably my favorite superhero of all time. So, I mean, seeing him here was just awesome. I mean, not at all. He's like, not at all. Does not play into the show at all. It's literally just a cameo. But it was cool. Like I said, I think all the great, beautiful scenes are like with Nightcrawler steal the show here. Although, there's a lot of other great scenes. Of course, Wolverine is awesome. Jean Grey and Jubilee also get some great moments to shine as well as Sunspot. But personally, at least in my personal opinion, I think that and Magneto as well also was great in this episode as well. But I think Nightcrawler probably stood out to me the most in this episode because he was just so good. And like we see how Professor Xavier sees how he is needed again and he returns to Earth. And I'm very, very curious to see how that is going to go. So I think like my only main problem is just like I feel like they're trying to set up Mr. Sinister, who I think has an awesome design. And Bastian is like the main villain of this show, and I know that they want to do him for when they eventually get to the MCU X-Men. Mr. Sinister is the main villain, but it's like I feel like they're just not doing that good of a job setting him up. At least consider there are only 10 episodes, but I will say like this show is still great. I mean, I'd probably say it's like my second favorite show of the year, maybe third. I don't know. I still think Fallout's probably my favorite show of the year, but this is definitely one of them. I mean, it's great. I just think that like with Bastian, it's just not. I just kind of feel like I don't really understand what not necessarily what his goal is, but it's just like I don't know. It's something about him just isn't really too compelling to me. But this was still a really great episode. I mean, nothing really negative. I mean, every single episode is really good, and I mean, I would still like happily watch this episode again. It's still really good. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I mean, I thought it was still great. Just the little things I had problems with, but wasn't necessarily any of the things like, it was more just nitpicking. That was my problem. But I still thought this was a great episode.